Hello and welcome, everyone. Thank you for watching another of the live interviews for Commerce Co. I am very excited today because we have had international guests before, but today our guest is all the way from Australia, which for us, halfway around the world. So Kunal Sawhney is the CEO of Kalkine. So Kunal, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Armando.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to chat with you. Thank you.
Please tell us a little about yourself and your company before we get started.
Sure. Kalkine, we are an equities research business. We have offices in Australia, in New Zealand, in UK, in Canada, in US, in India. So we have offices in 6 countries. We are a media house and we are an equities research house. So we look at a lot of listed companies, thousands and thousands of listed companies. And we also have a media house which publishes a lot of media content about business, about equities, about currencies, about cryptocurrencies, about e-commerce, and so on. So we cover a whole gambit of things, but primarily we are an equities research and a media house.
Makes sense. And the two things that we're going to focus on today are cryptocurrency and e-commerce. Mm-hmm. I think there's probably in our conversation a couple of directions I want to go. I want to talk about cryptocurrency as a currency for e-commerce as we think about shopping, and also want to talk about NFTs a little bit. Where would you like to start with those two? What's the most important one? Where should we start?
Whatever you choose, Armando. I'm at your service. So whatever questions you ask, I will keep on answering them.
All right, perfect. So then we'll start with cryptocurrency as a currency. Mm-hmm. Give us your outlook. Are cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, Ethereum, et cetera, are they going to be viable currencies that someone, could use to go shopping online? Is that going to happen? Is that going to be mainstream anytime soon?
Very good question, Armando. I think we just need to look at, how these cryptocurrencies are structured. Okay, so be it a direct-to-consumer company or an airline, they should all start accepting cryptocurrencies. We must first understand whether they are money or assets. One can accept money, right? And people can accept, commodities or any assets and payments. So we need to differentiate between two things. And I think we need to look at the infrastructure. So if you go 20 years back when there was an online boom starting, this was a similar question being asked, whether Amazon or whether the online businesses will go mainstream, and they have gone mainstream, and now they are the biggest companies in the world.
Yes.
So I think in 20 years' time, you will again see that these cryptocurrencies businesses, will be very, very mainstream, and they will be one of the biggest businesses and companies, in the world. That because if you look at the infrastructure is already there for these cryptocurrencies to be successful. And if you also look at how investors are playing this, I mean, say if you look at some of the biggest of the biggest venture funds, they are heavily investing in cryptocurrencies, whether it's Andreessen Horowitz or whether it is Sequoia or whether it's Kleiner Perkins. Some of the biggest venture funds are investing, in cryptocurrencies. Okay, now let's talk about a bit on the regulation side. Lately, there was a Senate hearing titled "Cryptocurrencies: What are they good for?" Just like today's discussion here. So the legal angle is also coming in there now. Naturally, it did not make as much news with regards to where multi-billionaires, when Elon Musk, Jack Dorsey, extend support to crypto space. We hear a lot of news, tweets, and so on. And if you look at the Senate hearing that happens, it's mostly the critics of the crypto world who are dominating the Senate hearing. And obviously, there are a few supportive voices that are there as well. But I must say that in the crypto currencies, as per the e-commerce world, right, is gonna start getting traction very soon. I think there was a lot of noise in the crypto space when one news article suggested that Amazon, the e-commerce giant, is also contemplating and accepting cryptocurrencies as payments. Bitcoin gained on the back of this news. But obviously, Amazon clarified that right now there is no such development. So the question of whether businesses should start accepting cryptocurrencies is open-ended. But right now, most companies are not doing that. The reason is whether you take Bitcoin, Dogecoin, they are still very volatile in nature. And the challenge is that this volatility has to go for people to accept, because what happens if a business accepts Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency and it falls 20% tomorrow?
Right.
The 20% profit of that particular business can be wiped out in just a couple of days. Okay, so and the other thing I think we have to look at is the amount of energy consumptions a lot of these cryptocurrencies take to mine, and excessive power usage and extreme volatility. These are the biggest challenges right now. So I think the answer to your question is yes, because if you remember, I will again go back to that analogy of 20 years back when the online world was just starting and people said whether these companies will go mainstream. And initially, if you remember, the stock price of Amazon and a lot of other online businesses was very volatile. But now they have gone mainstream. So I think we are in that stage. It is going to take time, but in 10 or 20 years time, you will see these companies going mainstream. The challenges is, again, I will again repeat it, excessive power usage, one of the biggest challenges, and extreme volatility. So till the time the crypto world or the cryptocurrencies are able to negate these challenges, I think in the next few years, it's going to be tough. But if one can solve these problems, you will see a huge boom in cryptocurrencies towards e-commerce.
Do you have any idea what sort of solutions would do that? Like, what needs to happen for the power consumption problem to be resolved in the next several years? What needs to happen for volatility to be resolved?
A very, very good question, Armando. And I think most of the cryptocurrency players are already looking to solve these problems. I think technologically, there has to be a solution where the mining problem is sorted, where people are not spending loads and loads of energy. I think I saw some stats that one Bitcoin mining takes the amount of energy of 471,000 Visa transactions or something along those lines.
Oh,
wow. So I think technologically these things have to improve. I think we can look at Moore's law that every 7 years technology improves dramatically, and things. So I think it's a matter of time. Maybe in the next 5 to 7 years we will see a huge improvement. I'm going to say we can look at Tesla as an electric car. When that came into play, in 2013, 14. It was not going mainstream. As a company, it was struggling. As a technology, it was struggling. And here we are 7 years from 2014, 15, and we are seeing, a massive traction in electric cars. So maybe when you and me are chatting in 2028, we will say, wow, see, this is what happens. You give it some time and there is massive traction. So I think it's only a matter of time that technology improves, and we will see a huge traction in cryptocurrencies.
From the perspective of the retailer or the direct-to-consumer brand who might be selling online or maybe even selling in a store, what should they be doing now to think about or prepare for that time in 7 years when cryptocurrencies are mainstream? Do they need to be ahead of it, or can they just wait for the technology? What should they be doing?
I think the answer to that question is diversification. People maybe can accept a small part of their business to be accepting cryptocurrencies, not all the business, because if they accept all the business and suddenly Bitcoin goes down from 50,000 to 30,000, here we go, 40% of their assets are wiped out, profits are wiped out. So I think what we need to look at is how are the big corporations doing it. So like Tesla is holding cryptocurrencies as an asset. But if you look at overall, Tesla is now worth $800 billion. So if they hold $1 billion or $1.5 billion of Bitcoin, it's not a huge threat to their business continuity. And once again, for bigger players like Tesla and other bigger corporations, revenues come from different avenues, and only a very small portion of their revenue is dedicated to this cryptocurrency or risky asset space. So what I would say is diversification. The retailers can experiment a bit with cryptos, and they need to be very careful in doing it because there is a lot of hype around the cryptocurrency space. But as we know, there is a huge volatility as well. And what happens if it falls tomorrow? A lot of the small players in e-commerce space are going to be massively at a disadvantage. Okay. So what I would say is there has to be an ecosystem. So the point is that when suppliers accept payments in cryptocurrencies, when employees accept wages in cryptocurrencies, that is when the risk goes down a bit, because then you're not accepting cryptocurrencies and you're paying wages in dollars. You're not accepting cryptocurrencies and paying your suppliers in dollars. So when an ecosystem develops where your employee says, yes, I will accept my wages in cryptocurrencies, the supplier says, yes, I will accept in cryptocurrencies my payments, that's when I really see traction coming here. And also, I would say this is a good time to experiment with a small diversification into cryptocurrency. The US economy grew by 6.5% on an annualized basis in the second quarter, which was below the estimate of Dow Jones. The latest jobs data reveal that the country needs at least 7 million more Americans to be employed. So if you look at the growth is strong, right? And the reason why such macroeconomic indicators matter is when we speak of the acceptance of cryptocurrencies in payments, is that these have an impact on any investment space. When the economy is booming and the people can earn well via wages and not from the government stimulus push, money can be parked in various assets like cryptocurrencies. So I would say this is a good time. This is not a bad time to be experimenting with this. And people can take risks when they have enough money to do so. At present, the personal saving rate in America has tumbled below $2 trillion. It was about $4 trillion some time back. So what I'm trying to say is, because people are not getting any interest rates when they keep money in the bank, a lot of people are investing this money. Okay. And hence, I would say this is a good time to experiment with cryptocurrencies. And let's also note one more development that, El Salvador has lately declared that Bitcoin will be a legal tender alongside the US dollar. Now, this is big news. A country did something that was always at the heart of the cryptocurrency space. And, if the experiment in El Salvador is successful, very soon you will see a lot of other countries doing so. So once again, Armando, I'm coming back to my question. It's a matter of time. I don't think there's any wrong with the principle. It's a matter of time.
One of the things that occurs to me is that for this to become inevitable, for it to happen, consumers have to have a reason to use cryptocurrency over the fiat currencies they've been accustomed to using. What are some of the benefits or some of the reasons that they may do it? Is it because of that infrastructure, or are there other drivers?
Okay, so very good question. So while there are many risks that can easily, outweigh the benefits, let's talk about the advantages. Obviously, there are a lot of risks, but let's talk about the advantages.
Yep.
We know how the direct-to-consumer business model is back in business today. Many businesses exist only on e-commerce platform, and these are selling virtually everything from clothes to electronics to home furnishing goods. So you don't need a distribution channel. In fact, you don't need even a retail store to sell goods. So the direct-to-consumer model via online or via apps is here to stay. And within this DTC model, the direct-to-consumer model, we know what matters the most, and that is the customer acquisition cost. Okay. So now if a business accepts cryptocurrencies as payments, this can be a great marketing strategy, because there is a huge universe of people who are sitting with their cryptocurrencies with them and they want to spend them. So, your customer acquisition cost can certainly be very low. For example, AXA Insurance is allowing its customers in Switzerland to pay in Bitcoin. And this can be, again, a bit of a brand building exercise as well. Like many would know that Air Baltic, which is a flag carrier of Latvia, now accepts bookings in Bitcoin and now in many other cryptocurrencies. So what we are seeing is this adoption, these advantages of customer acquisition cost, brand building, is coming through. Brands become more famous when they do something like this, especially in a space that is the talk of the town. I'm going to say, cryptocurrencies. Everyone hears about them straight away. So tomorrow, if Armando says that I'm going to accept payments in cryptocurrencies, you will be at the forefront, and hundreds of millions of people who are having cryptocurrencies will be coming to Armando and saying, yes, I would like to use them with you. So I think the brand building, customer acquisition cost are two main advantages. And also, I will again go back to El Salvador. I think there was an example of a Bitcoin beach experiment in a village in El Salvador is one example that can be cited here. Started sometime in 2019. It involved building a Bitcoin economy in the village by convincing merchants to accept payments in Bitcoin. And according to news reports, the experiment was also behind the president of El Salvador declaration of the Bitcoin as a legal tender. So once again, if these experiments can be more widespread, you will see a lot more benefits of cryptocurrencies that we will be able to see. Okay, and also if we see the blockchain technology in payment systems will be universally accepted someday, and if that happens, crypto holdings can create wealth. Jack Dorsey has time and again said that Bitcoin can be the native currency of the internet. Blockchain technology has also multiple uses outside of cryptocurrency space. Mm-hmm. So, once a business starts accepting cryptocurrency, they can also look at advantages of blockchain as well. So overall, one more example over here, Ether, for example, has recently made some changes in technology, a development that has increased its value. Elon Musk tweeted some time back that Dogecoin developers are also looking at, using less energy. So what I would say is that, customer acquisition cost, brand building, and if people can accept cryptocurrencies which are using less energy, this can be really beneficial for the businesses. And one thing I would like to point out, cryptocurrencies now don't exist on the fringe. They have become a mainstream investment instruments. And that's one reason why we are discussing them here today. And that's why the question of whether businesses should start accepting cryptocurrencies is an open-ended question.
Makes sense. I'm going to try to summarize that, what we just talked about for the last 15 or so minutes, just to make sure. So what I hear you saying is that we are probably 5, 7, some number of years away from this being mainstreamed. But even right now, businesses, e-commerce merchants, direct-to-consumer brands should start to experiment with this, because it will become a part of their businesses in the future once we solve those two problems. Is that a good, fair summary of what we got so far?
Absolutely. I would again say, let's forget about Teslas and the bigger, industries or bigger companies. Even small businesses like coffee shops, okay, they should start experimenting, because once smaller businesses start experimenting, you will see more and more people trying to imitate them. There will be distribution channels, there will be merchant channels. We already know PayPal is coming into this space. Most merchants use PayPal. Mm-hmm. And if tomorrow PayPal allows people to accept Bitcoin as a merchant instrument, cryptocurrencies can have a huge boon. So the point I'm trying to say is that businesses should carefully evaluate, how they can have a successful brand image and how they can improve their customer acquisition cost via Bitcoin. And then they should park a bit of their business via cryptocurrencies.
Makes sense. So far we've been talking about sort of the crypto, the blockchain as a currency. Let's switch a little bit and talk about it as, I guess, an asset, an NFT. Give us your definition, and then help me understand how, for example, Shopify announced that they would start to make NFTs available. How does the e-commerce world, e-commerce platforms, how does that, relate to non-fungible tokens?
Armando, very very good question. And we hear some crazy stuff about NFTs. I'm going to say you must have heard some NFTs going for amazing prices. What is the latest price that you have heard of an NFT? I heard one even being valued at $62 million. Have you heard some amazing prices?
I have heard some amazing. 62 million is more than I have heard. I think
Okay.
I heard that the original code or a picture of the original code for the web went for about 5 million. And then I had also heard, what was it? A piece of art. You may know this one too. I think it was CryptoPunk. Sold for about 11. What was it that sold for? You said 69 million.
62. I saw an article where there was a NFT being valued at 62 million. Okay,
Wow.
So yeah, I'm going to say whether it is 62 or 6 million, that remains to be seen. But at a very high level, most NFTs. Let's talk about NFTs. They are a part of a Ethereum blockchain. Okay, and Ethereum, as all of us know, is a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin or Dogecoin, but its blockchain also supports these NFTs, which store extra information that makes them work differently from a coin, let's say from a ETH coin. And it is worth noting that other blockchains can implement their own version of NFTs. Okay, and some have already done so. So what we are seeing is that this NFTs universe is bound to grow. Okay, and once again, with NFTs, they can really be anything digital. So let's talk about, they can be drawings, they can be music, they can be stuff downloaded and turned into artificial intelligence. But a lot of current excitement, Armando, is about digital art. Okay, so as we always remember, when Steve Jobs used to talk about Apple products, he always used to say, it's a mix of technology and social sciences, or it's a mix of art and technology. And now I think NFTs is something that we are seeing in that form, where it's a mix of technology and it's a mix of art. Okay, so the point I'm trying to make is more and more people are going to be how can I put this? Become art collectors. Okay, so I think there was a 50-second video by Grimes, or there was a video by Beeple, and these things are going for I think the 6.6 million was a video by Beeple, and this was actually auctioned at Christie's. So
wow.
So the point I'm trying to say, this space is going to grow. Okay, and this is where things are really booming. So yes, there was a 69 million. Let me talk about this. The image that Beeple was auctioning off at Christie's ended up selling for 69 million. So Beeple sold an NFT for 69 million. So that's the number. And the funny part is Christie's sold this more than a Monet that they sold at Christie's.
Wow. What are your what about I was just thinking about the average creator, right? So I have a friend, Caleb. He's in Nigeria. He does this beautiful abstract art. Is he going to be able to use, an NFT to sell his art? Do you and talk about what that would look like?
He can. I'm going to say, as long as he's able to get access to this technology. So I think people, as I said, this is a mix of art and technology, and once again, when the real name of Beeple, the digital artist known as Beeple, his real name is Mike Winkelmann. He has generally sold his prints for about $100. So let's talk about artists now, as you mentioned, a friend of yours in Nigeria.
Yep.
And here we go. Mike Winkelmann's digital artist known as Beeple, his NFT sold for $69 million at Christie's. So from $100 to $69 million. So that's, I think, great news for the artist. And the sale positions him among the top 3 most valuable living artists, as per Christie's.
Wow.
Okay. So the point I'm trying to say is, I think NFTs or non-fungible tokens, being these unique files that live on blockchain and are able to verify ownership of a work of digital art, they are going to grow tremendously. And once again, I think a few factors why Beeple's sold for this work of art sold for $69 million. First thing, he has a large fan base of about 2.5 million followers, across social channels.
Okay.
And what I'm saying is, if you look at the network effect coming into NFTs is very strong, because he publishes digital artwork every day, and this project, I think, has taken him nearly 14 years. This was a 14th year that he was working on this.
Oh, wow.
So the point I'm trying to say is NFTs, I think, are going to grow substantially. And Christie's is also legitimizing force for NFTs as a technology. This is a 255-year-old auction house that has sold some of the most famous paintings in history, from Shakespeare, the only known portrait of Shakespeare, and a number of other famous works. And here they are selling NFTs for $69 million. Okay.
Wow.
So the point I'm trying to say, Armando, is I think this is just the beginning of NFTs. You will see a lot more stuff happening in this world.
Makes sense. We're basically at the end of our time. Let me slide one more question in there. Is there something I should have asked you about crypto, about NFTs, about commerce that I didn't? Is there something I should have asked that I didn't?
Armando, the only thing I would say, I think you have asked pretty much all the questions, but the only thing I would say is that one of the key things, when we talk about Christie's and artwork, and I would still call it a lot of hype. We should really figure out ways where a normal person on the street can use it. Okay. Where a normal person on the street can, go into a convenience store or a 7-Eleven and say, I want to, buy a bottle of Coke or a bag of chips via cryptocurrencies. I think the day we see that happening, you will see a huge explosion. That day, I think you will see central banks adopting cryptocurrencies. And the other thing, more than the central banks, I really see the big technology companies to be coming into to be coming over here and launching their own currencies. If you look at Apple, they have a wallet, they have the phone, they have all the infra. Okay, so I think the only question would be, would Apple launch a cryptocurrency? Would Google launch a cryptocurrency? They have the phone, they have the wallet. Okay, so what I'm trying to say, would Facebook launch? By the way, Facebook has already launched a cryptocurrency. I think it was called Libra, and now the name has changed. What's the new name, Armando? Correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't know. I knew it as Libra. So if you know that they've changed.
Yeah, I from memory, I think they have changed. So what I'm saying is, what we are going to see very soon is that the bigger technology players, Apple, Google, Microsoft, Facebook, all of them, they will be coming with cryptocurrencies. And I think that's going to be the game changer. Imagine, here is my iPhone. In my iPhone, I have a wallet in which I store my credit cards. And tomorrow I have an Apple coin, which Apple has launched, and I can start using, Apple coin all over the world. Okay. And what I'm really saying is, for the huge adoption of cryptocurrencies, more than the central banks, it is Apple, Google, Facebook who can really legitimize this, because then we are in picture everywhere.
Makes sense. It has been a real pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much for taking the time today.
Thanks, Armand. Thank you. A pleasure.
All right. Goodbye, everyone. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.